Let's continue, and we're going to add small details. But once we have the model, the small details add quality to the file we're working with. So what's the first thing? Remember that we had these frames. Okay, so if we are working with glass, we need a frame. And this is what we're going to do now. So we have a frame here, and probably the other frame is beneath the structural element. So in these elevations, we usually don't see the frame that it's here, but this space would be too large for a glass pane. So we divide this in two, and the frame is here, there's another frame there, and there's another frame behind the structural element. And then we have another frame here in the corner. How can we do that in Revit? We have already done this element, this extrusion model in place, and we're going to use it to create, you see that there's a column here, that black dot. So there will be a frame here. There will be another frame here just behind this structural element. We will have another frame. And here we have two frames, and here we have only one. Okay, so this is too big. So with one, probably the glass will break. So here we need two frames, and here we need two frames because we have to open the door. So if we open a window or a door, we need a structural element here and another there. So analyzing this, what I'm going to do is to use the component model in place just to create those frames. It's quite easy. So let's go to architecture component model in place. What category am I going to use? We have window. Okay, I'm going to use the structural framing. I don't know, let's use structural framing. And let's use extrusion. And I'm going to draw, or yeah, so we can use a rectangle. And this is the size of the frame that we're doing. Okay, so simple. We can do this on the 3D here. And now we have to move it to this point and this point. And now there's a solid element here. And now we can copy this element. Copy, select the middle point, and then we're going to copy it here and here and here. If I want to copy it now, I have to select this corner and place it here. And what about this? This should be at the middle point between these two axes. So again, I'm going to use another reference line. I'm going to select the point here. And now I'm going to copy this one here. Delete auxiliary lines. And now I can mirror. If I pick mirror axis, I select this one, and you see that the column is there now, or the frame is there now. It's not exactly, but that's better. So we cannot trace this here because we know that this should be just halfway between these two axes. And now let's select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Copy, select this corner, and move it here. So now on the 3D view, we have all the vertical elements here. We don't have any here yet, so this is the next thing we're going to do, and finally we will do this where the door is going to be. Okay, so this we don't have one here, we have 2, and probably we have the same distance from this point to that point. So we have to divide this in 3 parts. How can we do it? We're going to use this annotate, and then we will use the EQ option. But first, I need a line from the middle point, from the midpoint of this frame here, another one from the midpoint there. And now just 2 vertical or 2 lines here. And now I use annotate, align, select these 3 dimensions. They're all different. Click EQ, and now we know where the frames will be. So we can select this, copy, and 1 and 2. Remember to delete the auxiliary lines on the 3D view. We have these elements, and now we need the door. So these are not the same distance. I don't mind. I can copy one of them here, copy it here, this point, but we do know that the distance between the corner and this element should be the same as from this corner to this element. So I'm going to use a mirror, select this, mirror draw axis, select this midpoint, draw the axis here, and here we go. Okay, so now it doesn't match here, but I think it's better because it's in the middle. Yep. Now I can do something different because I have a continuous element made of glass, but I want to change it because now I don't have glass here. I have glass between frames. So I'm going to delete this. If I delete it, now I don't have any glass. We have the frames, but we don't have any glass there. So if I want to make something transparent, I can do it in a different way. I can use architecture, component, modeling place. I don't have glass, so I will select walls. Okay. I will use extrusion, and I want the rectangle. So I want to draw a rectangle from this corner to that one. Click OK. On the 3D view. Okay. It has to be here and there. Now we have solid element, and remember that we have to change the material. So before finishing the model, I can change the material and I can use the glass. Now something transparent. Now we can finish the model. Okay, so you see that there's no material here, and here we have a glass. So there's a difference. What's next? Well, we have to fill all the spaces with this glass. Okay, now all the glass panels are here, including the corners and including this. Okay, but it's not a continuous glass wall, so we have glass just between the frames. And what can we do to finish this model? Well, um, if you select this, right click on the mouse, you can hide in view this element. So the element, I haven't deleted it. So the element is there. And if you click here, this light bulb to reveal hidden elements, it's already there. Okay. But if we don't, we can see that we don't have a roof or we don't have a ceiling in this element. We do need a ceiling because those are the bathrooms and the mechanical rooms. But in the original drawing, we see that this piece of, yeah, where the only opaque partitions where the bathrooms and the mechanical rooms are, they don't get up to the ceiling here. We have a space. Well, why did he do it? Okay, so you see that you don't see that there's a connection between this wall and this ceiling, but in fact there is, because one of the things we need for mechanical rooms and bathrooms, we need exhaust pipes, and we need to get rid of the exhaust air that we have here. Okay, but Mies van der Rohe is so sensitive that he hides the all that stuff to get rid of the exhaust air. Okay, so let's do it. But we need a ceiling to this element. We are going to use component model in place, and on level 0, I can go to architecture, component model in place. What's this? It's a ceiling. So let's use this option, ceiling. And if we go to extrusion, we just need a rectangle from this corner to this corner. And on the west elevation, we see where it is. So it has to go here. I don't know the thickness, I don't mind, but we need like a cap to this element. So we have a cap now. And what if we want this chimneys, but look at this, you see that there's this is the element here, and there's a box that goes beyond the roof. And now if we can see that in this picture. Yep, we see this, but we never see the chimneys that we have there. But there should be a box. So I'm going to model something very quick and something that connects the three elements, the two bathrooms and the mechanical room and the fireplace, because there's a fireplace too. I'm going to use a component model in place. I'm going to use walls, and I'm going to use extrusion. And yeah, let's do it this way. And from the west elevation, we can go up here. Okay, apparently we have two of them, this and this one. So I can move it up to this place. And then another one, copy here, finish. And then on the 3D view, to have this, and we can unhide If we select this, select unhiding view, and click here again, and now we see these elements. Okay, it's not important, but and when we are looking from a human perspective, we won't see that, but we can tell that there's something here as we can see in these views. Okay. We have added more details to this model. And now we have to start thinking on visualization. Because, well, this is not very nice because we're using just, in this view, we have those colors, but those are not very appealing. And well, here with this visual style, there are a few things we can do. If we use a hidden line, we just see white rectangles or white volumes. We don't have any materials, or we don't have any texture or any color. We use shaded. This is the original one. We use consistent colors. It doesn't change that much. And if we use realistic, it's not going to change because I don't think we have selected any material except the glass. Okay, so for the glass, you see that we have a reflection, kind of. And what can we do? There's something that always helps. If we cast shadows here, by default, shadows are off. But if we click on shadows on, it always looks better casting shadows. And we will have the same effect with the hidden lines. But it's not very, yeah, this is not what we want. Okay, so we're preparing a presentation, we need something else. So if you click here, we have to go to graphic display options. And here we have a few more options. In shadows, you can cast shadows or show ambient shadows. And we apply. And it doesn't change a lot. Okay, so we need something else. Graphic display options. Here we can explore the same alternatives that we have there. Okay, the effect of the ambient shadows here in this realistic style, we can tell. Look at the shadows again. If we don't select this one and apply, you see. So ambient shadows gives more quality to the drawing, but I'm not happy with it. We have to do something different. So the next step will be how we can improve the quality of this presentation. In terms of adding, we're not going to add different materials because what are the materials that we have here? Yeah, we have grass here. Everything is white or whitish. We step this is wood. And we have everything else. It's painted in white, except probably the slabs that are made of travertine. Travertine's a nice Italian marble, and this is the only material other than white steel, glass, and this wood we have here. We're going to do something more abstract. Here you see the travertine. We're going to do something more abstract. We're going to assign the same material to the whole model. Why are we doing this? By this time, you should know what a massing model is. So when we're using massing models, you see that we are using the same material for all the elements, except something different to highlight. Yeah, if there's something that we want to highlight, we can do this. But imagine that we are doing this with using wood or cardboard, and we're going to use the same texture for everything that it's not glass. How can we do it? So first we have to explore the materials that we have in Revit. All these are elements modeled in place. So by default, we can't change the material here, but if we edit in place and we select it again, now we can change material. Is there something like wood? In Revit, there is, and we have these horrendous Revit materials. Wood and chipboard. If we click here, we can see a big picture of this element. Let's select this one. So I have selected this, I click OK. And now if I finish the model, I can see the material on this. So you see that we actually have a material. We have these weird things. But yes, there's material and it looks like chipboard. Yeah, kind of. Can we use the same material for everything? If we select this, edit in place again, and select the material, let's select the same chipboard and finish the model. Okay, so yeah, here we have the same material. We only see this material if we are in this realistic. If we are in consistent colors, we don't see anything, or we are in a hidden line, we don't see that. But in realistic, we do see the material here. So this is what we have to do. We have to select all the elements. We have to go one by one. So if we make up our minds about the materials that we're going to use, probably it would be wiser to use this. But if we zoom in, we see that there's a pattern. So this is not extremely bad. So I'm going to use another material. Let's use this wood, see what happens. Okay, that's worse. This is what I wanted. And we see that there's a pattern. This is because the sample size that we have used is not really good enough. Okay, so we see that there's a pattern that it's repeated. So let's select it, edit in place, select it again. Let's select the wood material. And when we click on the texture, there's something, okay, the sample size is 10 inches. I'm going to change it to 10 feet to see what happens. Okay, so now this is 10 feet by 10 feet, that square. And this is what we're going to apply here. So we apply it here. Now it's different. You see, before doing that, we saw these lines this way, and after doing that, we see that the pattern is repeated, but not as often as it was the first time. Okay, slightly better. I'm not a big fan of the Revit textures, but at least we can get by with it. So I have to edit in place and use wood. And since I have changed the sample size, then every time I do this, it will change again accordingly. Okay, so now I'm going to select everything, and I'm going to apply the same material to everything, to every single element. I'm done with the materials now, so everything has the same material except this, because, well, I think a little contrast goes well. So I have used another material for this and for the interior partitions. Okay. As I told you, I'm not a fan of these Revit textures, but well, it's not too bad. The problem with those models is that we need some context. So those are floating in the air in the middle of nowhere, and it's much better if we can provide them with a context, soil, at least a base. Okay, we need the soil here around the building, because otherwise we it's like it's not real. It's not even a model. Okay, so we need something. We need a base to hold all this structure. Okay, so this cannot be ending here. Let's try, or let's work with the massing and site. With this option, we can create a topper surface. We're going to do something very simple, and we're going to create a surface. But let's study this. Okay, so we can create a surface. Here you see that the original soil, it comes here and then it goes down. Okay, so the soil starts right here between this level, which is level -3 and 4 inches, and that one, which is 1 and 4 inches. So around here, around level -2 and 4 inches, we can start the soil. I'm going to use this topper surface, and by default, if I select this, well, we have a warning. This is not visible in this current view. So before doing anything else, we're going to go to visibility graphics. And here we have mass, but it's not activated, and topography, that it's not activated. So let's activate this, apply, okay. And now if we select the surface, we don't have this warning. By default, we start on level 0. Well, we have to start on level -2 and 4 inches. And how does it work? Well, it's quite easy. We don't see it, but if I do this, I have created that. So why is this happening? Okay, let's undo. No, do not. So we can select this, we can edit surface, and we can click here, press point, place point. And we're going to go down. So this is the first level, and then we're moving downwards. So let's say this is 8 inches, and we do this. And now it's -3 feet. And do this. And now 3 and 4 inches. And there you go. And then click finish. Why is it like a perfect rectangle? Well, because we are using this section box. So this section box limits everything. If we extend the size of the section box, we see what we have done. Okay, so we don't have a perfect shape, but if we extend or if we crop this, top view, it looks better. Okay, so now on this 3D view, we can see that there is a context, there is a base to this, and it has a texture, a horrendous texture, and it's repeated many times, but at least it gives some contrast between the model itself and so it can be do something quick to do this. I want to select the topography, not the section box. So I'm going to hide the section box and I'm going to select the topography and material. We do have the default material, which is earth. And the problem first is too dark, and second, the pattern is 1 foot by 1 foot. So if we change the sample size to 20 by 20, it will look slightly better. It doesn't look much better. What if we select another material, not the earth, and we select some wood again, but a different kind of wood? So soft wood. I'm going to select this. This is 10 by 10. Let's make it 20 by 20. Well, this material is the same as the other one, but I need some contrast. So I need another material for this. Let's select the chipboard. Okay. I told you that I'm not a fan of Revit textures, but at least it looks like a physical model. And if we activate the section box again, and we do this, well, that's a first approach to this. So if we want to create our first render or first image of this picture, there's something we can do. So first we're going to we're working with this 3D view, which is the default 3D view. Let's right click and duplicate view, and we're going to rename this 3D1, because we will always have this 3D view. So if we change this view, the original one will always be like this. We're going to change different, or we're going to create some visual effects. But if we get wrong, at least we have the original one. So the first thing I'm going to do is to hide all these levels. When we're taking pictures of this, this is disturbing all these elements. We need section box, we need the scope box, we need levels, but for modeling, for rendering, we need to hide them. So right click hiding view elements. Hide the section box. And when you want to hide everything, select category and all the levels will be hidden. Okay, so that's better. Then another thing we can do is to work with the crop region. If you show the crop region here, we can create like a frame for this. Okay, so once we have selected the crop region is the only thing we see in the drawing. If we don't crop view, we see the rest, but if we crop view, we just do this. And then we can start exploring new graphic display options. So there is something that usually works. It's if you don't show edges, sometimes it gets better. It looks more realistic. But what really makes a difference is the lighting effects. So the ambient light, some make it clearer, the shadows. Exterior sun. In shadows, I want both. If we don't do this, not a big difference. Okay, but this is the first approach. If we don't like it, doesn't matter because we have always here the original. So if we have done this and we're not very happy with it, well, doesn't matter because we can change it, or we haven't destroyed the original file or the original view. If we change the sun angle, we can do something here with the sun settings. This is the default lighting. If we go to still, we can apply, and you see how that changes. So we can try different times. Well, if we go further, this is 21 p.m. And if we apply it, so let's go back to 4:55, 54 p.m. Apply. Okay. So by doing this, you can change the sun angle and it makes a difference. So this is 10 a.m. in the morning. So this is the first thing we have to select the right daylight so that casting shadows gives more depth to the drawing. Okay, so this is the first approach. Now you have to explore different materials, different views, and different perspectives. So if you want to create a vanishing point perspective, because this is an axonometric view, you have to go here and you have to use cameras. And just let's place a camera here and the target there. And this is what we see. Okay, we see this perspective. And then we have to start again with the graphic display options. This is the crop view. We can crop the view. Now we can go to the graphic display options. We can do the same, cast shadows and ambient shadows. Then we can go to the realistic one. Okay, and we have to hide this. And in this kind of working with the background, something very simple, just a gradient. Oh, it's getting better. So we are on our way to create wood renders of this model. And we can always explore the sun settings still. And okay, well, let's try and let's keep trying different materials. This is not the best material, so and now you have to explore different materials to create your own textures because the Revit ones are not up to the quality that we are looking for.